Hey YouTube. So the topic of today's video is going to be getting comfortable with witchcraft, and this is inspired by Heather Carter's 31 Days of Witchcraft challenge, which I encourage everybody to check out the tag. There's some awesome YouTubers who have been going through those prompts, and I am a big fan of Heather Carter myself, so definitely check out her channel. I am not participating in the 31 Days of Witchcraft, but I wanted to kind of talk a little bit about witchcraft inspired by some of what folks have been talking about on those prompts and some of those prompts themselves in a single video. Part of why I'm not doing the challenge is because a lot of the prompts don't necessarily apply to me, or I feel like I'm so early in my journey that they just I wouldn't have a lot to say. I talked in an earlier video about a couple of videos, I think, about my discomfort or just sort of journey with the term witch and witchcraft. I really like something that Laura at Aquamarine 18 talked about in one of their videos. Laura, I'm sorry, I can't remember your pronouns, so we're going to go with the generic they. But it was about identifying as, or it was about the term magic as opposed to the term witchcraft or witch. I think I am definitely more comfortable. It comes more naturally to me to say that I do magic, whatever do magic means. I'm also pretty comfortable with saying that I practice witchcraft in some ways, but saying I am a witch has been really challenging for me. I think it was maybe a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, I had this Instagram post where I showed a picture of the magician card and talked about claiming the word witch and how I was like making a decision and making a statement to claim that word despite my not fully identifying with it. But since then, I haven't really become more identified with it. And I think there are two reasons for that. One is the association of the word witch with pagan spirituality, with Wicca, with religion that doesn't resonate with me. And then the other one is, well, I'll say 2.5. Kind of related to that is the idea of witchcraft being practiced in covens or groups, which I'm total solo witch, so that's not my thing either. And then the other one is that I don't do spells or spellcraft. And so I think when you hear the word witch, like there's certain things that come to mind. And so there's still this resistance to using the term, I think, because the way I practice things doesn't line up with that. At the same time, like if I imagine my like ideal elder self, which I sometimes do, the elder I want to become, it is absolutely like a witch archetype, specifically kind of a kitchen witchy vibe. And I think that there are a couple of ways in which I feel most comfortable exploring or relating to magic, to witchcraft. One of those is the kind of kitchen witchery recipes, like herbal medicine, working with plants or minerals. I'll like think of that as kind of creating supports. And then the other thing is like energetic connections or tuning into the energies around me, whether that's like cycles, seasonal cycles, lunar or planetary cycles, whether that's establishing a relationship with the land, meeting plants, meeting stones, meeting geographical features. I've always found it, sorry if this is a little rambly, I've always found it intuitive to me to connect with the world around me and to feel into the energetics of a situation or place. Like I don't think I'm a quote unquote highly sensitive person, the way that's been described. Like I don't it's not like so distracting that I have to create barriers and protection around me to move in the world. But I do think I'm pretty energetically sensitive. I can read a room, I can feel the energy of a room pretty naturally. I have some astrological placements that support that. And I can become energetically drained really easily or overstimulated. I can connect to the energetics of a place. I've found definitely a connection with kind of in sexuality or intimate encounters, the kind of energetic exchange between two people is like a huge part of my sexuality. So in that way, I'm very tuned into the idea that everything has an energy and that we are all interacting with each other energetically. And when I say we, I include in that not just humans, but, everything. And so magic in that way, there's something appealing in honing a craft to tune in with those things and to greater acknowledge those things. So things like having more of a seasonal practice, recognizing cycles, getting to befriend plants or the land, or develop relationships with the energetic bodies that are around me. That all feels like I'm really drawn to it. I'm not so much drawn to manipulating those energies in the sense of spellcraft, and that is I don't think manipulate is a neutral term for me there. So in folks who do that kind of work, any sort of judgment towards you or dislike of it or anything like that. It just doesn't, pulling the threads to me isn't something that feels important to my own practice. What does feel important is strengthening connection, nurturing or watering those seeds, acknowledging and putting energy into connection, doing work on myself to be more open and to put intentions out there in terms of what I'm open to receiving, to think about how I can energetically give and be in exchange with the land around me, stuff like that. And so the craft element of it, and particularly things like herbal medicine, kitchen witchery, relating to particular energetics of, say, a plant, are more to me, I think, about working with and combining those energies. And sorry, I'm going to say energy 90 times in this video, but working with those things, not so much because I want to. For example, let's say I do as part of my practice, let's say I take a really intentional bath. So I put some sort of a magical bath salt thing into the bath, and I sit with that, and I give myself some time in that. To me, that is less about taking the thing that I put in there and this will bring X, or saying I want to manifest X. And it's more about whoever created that had a particular intention or an energy that they were imbuing the thing with, that the things that they used, the salts or flowers or whatever they put into that jar, have their own energies. The person creating it has an energy, and then I, using the tool, I don't really like that word tool, but using the medicine, also have an energy. And those things come together. And so it might be, for example, if it's something around insight, if that's the theme of the thing I'm using, and that's what I'm trying to cultivate, or intuition, I am opening myself up. I'm visualizing opening my channels, opening my intuition. And I think that the intent of the creator, the things they used, and my own intent all are supportive of that. All help to cultivate that energy, to kind of say to the universe, I am open to this. but it's a receiving rather than a pushing. It's like high priestess, if you're tarot, high priestess rather than magician energy, I think it is the way. So it's funny that I use the magician, and the magician, by the way, is my birth card, but I used that in that post where I talked about being a witch. And then now I'm like, I don't know, I think I'm like, it's my craft is more high priestessy in that way. It is, or empressy, actually really empressy in terms of like receiving and being grounded to the earth and connected. But I think it's a mix of those high priestess and empress energies that I'm trying to cultivate. Like another thing that I'm really good at, but like thing that resonates with me is like visualization, being able to, I'm very able to like go into a different place. I'm very curious about the idea of astral travel. I know Lisa at Supportive Tarot has talked a little bit about being on the astral, and I've been kind of curious about that. I can definitely go within and find other planes. Maybe this is the Sun and Mercury and Pisces in me. I can meet, so I've done things like met aspects of myself in a kind of alter like trance state. I'm really interested in like sound baths and like I've had like experiences with drumming. I think going into altered states, I think sometimes it brings a different energy and a different like receptivity than normal states, and sometimes allows me to like meet parts of myself. But I think it's very, I mean, this may sound selfish, but it's like it's a very internal journey driven. It's, for me, witchcraft and magic is about all the elements that support the journey that I need to do on this earth, the self-work that I need to do, self-growth and self-development that I need to do in order to be of service to others, and in order to find my soul purpose in the world, to find like what I came here to do, which is something I've been feeling really unsure about lately. I think that I am, like there is something I can offer the collective, but I haven't figured out what that is yet, or at least I haven't figured out what that is for this stage of my life yet. And I want to, like when I imagine my sort of ideal elder, the like witchy elder, I see myself as somebody who makes teas and potions and like whatever, who maybe makes oils or bath preparations, etc., as supportive friends, as allies, as whatever you want to call them, medicine for people. That feels authentic to me. Thinking about all the supports for the connection that energetically is very natural and that we're all born with, but we get distracted from, we get, like, I don't want to say that, I don't think that things like technology are necessarily like an evil force or distracting force. I've been very careful to really question assumptions around like, oh, you need to purify your practice, you need to like keep your tech away from your magic. Because sometimes I jokingly say I'm a tech witch, but I think that actually when you think about my like philosophy around magic and how I think about it, cosmology or what have you, I don't think, like, I think that tech can absolutely be part of your magic. I think that urban witchery is awesome. I feel like it is important to like ground and relate to the natural world as well, and I think it is easy to become too far away from that. But if you have a balance, if you balance your practice, everything's about balance, right? If you balance your practice, I don't think there's anything wrong with tech. And so the cosmology piece is just that I very much believe that magic, to me, magic is about like the things that it's forces or occurrences or energies that we can't explain using what we would term science. But at the same time, I do think that science is indistinguishable from magic. I think these are all like phenomena in the world, and often what we call magic is observable phenomena that we can't explain in certain like specific terms or in one way of thinking, and so we call it magic and we throw it aside. And that is part of what I'm drawn to about witchery, is the whole idea of like, you know, we are the like, what is it, like we are the granddaughters of the witches you tried to burn. Like that revolutionary spirit, that spirit of rebellion and radical practice and like radical self-care and care for others, of, you can call it feminine, you can call it whatever, you can call it queer, but like that ethos or idea that like that is something that patriarchal capitalism wants to get rid of. Like, it does not support that worldview. And so I really like that about witchcraft, and I like the idea that magic and science are not necessarily two different things, but how to say this, like, it is about, both of those things are about creation, observation, interaction in different ways. And then I'm really open to both, and so that, and I don't see them as necessarily both. I see them as like all one thing. So when I learn, like I've been learning more about Jungian psychology and shadow integration, and the like psychology of it and the like magic of it, to me are one thing. And so all the resources, however they're like labeled or what genre they're put in, are useful to me in that. Whew, this is really rambling. I wanted to kind of add, like, I guess a little footnote quickly on elements, because that is one of the prompts. There's a prompt about elements in the 31 Days of Witchcraft Challenge, and that is something that I do really relate to and have opinions about. I don't know, whatever. Feelings about. I am very drawn to working with elements, and I would say I am by nature a watery person, astrologically, just energetically speaking, and I ground really well through earth. Like, I need earth, as I've talked about this, I need earth as a container for my water. When I do anything that feels magical, I usually want to sit on the ground, even if it's the floor. I mean, I realize I'm on a second-story apartment, but that doesn't really make a difference to me. It's just like putting my butt on a surface, on a floor, and grounding and feeling into that. So that for me is really huge. I light candles often when I'm doing something kind of magic-y. So fire, bringing in fire in that way. I think just even thinking about all the different interactions of the elements has been a really good way in terms of metaphor for me to understand different concepts. So thinking about what does it mean to be in water or earth or fire, but also, or air, but also thinking about how they go together. So like, what is the energy of a hurricane? What is the energy of mud? What is the energy of a forest fire? Like, all these different things is super, like, informs my tarot practice, my magic practice, which I would say tarot is like one of the cornerstones of whatever practice I have. And I am getting more into, incidentally, ritual and like practice in that way through tarot. So starting to do like more intentional practice in the morning with cards. I've been on top of my fireplace, reserving that blank canvas as a space for laying down cards throughout the week. And I've been using Dawn Michelle at Boho Tarot. Recently did a video. I can't remember the title, but it's something about her morning practice, and talks about kind of a waterfall method where you do 3 cards Monday, you reflect on them Tuesday, 3 cards Wednesday, reflect Thursday, 3 cards Friday, so you end up with a 9-card grid. I found that to be like the ritual of that just doing it the same way each week, and using a different deck each week to be really cool. And I've started doing little kind of light altar work. So right now I'm going through a really intense moon card time. So I have like a little altar, a little moon altar, in my tarot space. That was a lot of rambling. Heather, I hope you don't mind that I totally, using your hashtag to not really do the hashtag, but encourage everybody again to go look at folks who did the hashtag, people who followed instructions, and check it out, and let me know if there's things you'd like to hear about related to witchcraft and my magical practice on this channel. I'd be happy to indulge you, so leave a comment below, and don't forget to subscribe so that you'll see future videos.